Hi friends, I'm Erica from livingwellmom.com, and I know a lot of you probably do know who I am, but because I haven't done a lot of videos like this, I just wanted to introduce myself in case you don't. You can learn more about me at livingwellmom.com and what I do and what I offer. Today is Friday, March 20th, and we are several days, weeks, depending on where you're at. We are into this coronavirus, COVID-19 crazy time. And I wanted to just check in and see how you all were doing. Um, so right now I'm sitting in my office at home. I already work from home, so I'm blessed that that's not that huge of a transition for me. What is a different change is that my 4 children are home as well. So you might hear a lot of background noise. We have my kids downstairs on the computers, and they're talking to their teachers, and my 9-year-old was just singing happy birthday because his teacher set up a classroom video chat. I'm not quite sure how she did that, but with trying to get as many of the classmates in as possible so they could check in with each other and say hello and see how they were doing. And it must have been somebody's birthday because I heard them singing, and that just made me smile. You love kids, you know? We also have some contractor here doing some work because our house is for sale. We're actually looking at moving in possibly in May. So there's just lots and lots and lots going on here, as I'm sure you have your own lots and lots of things going on. So I just wanted to check in and share a couple of words just to encourage you. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and I think that is one of the scariest things for a lot of people. We just don't know how long this will last, what the end result is going to be, how this is going to affect our loved ones, our immediate family, extended family, friends. There's just so many questions we have, and no one has the answers. So what do we do in times like this? So I am a Christian, and for me, I've been really praying a lot and just trying to put my trust and faith in God. And that may be what you do. And if not, you know, there's other things you can do as well. For me, that's just been a huge source of peace and strength and comfort for me. But beyond that, I wanted to share a couple of simpler things. I have my notes written on my computer, so if you see me glancing down, that's why, because I've been so scattered lately that I could totally go off on a tangent and completely forget what I actually wanted to say. So the first thing that I wanted to remind you about is look for the good. In times when there's a lot of there's hardships, and there's a lot of people that are freaking out. There's people that are being super callous, and they're not happy about what's going on, and they think that it's all unnecessary and an overreaction. And so you have such extremes at times that it can be really hard to figure out, you know, where you are at. And one thing that does always helps me, just forget that. One thing that always helps me is I remember, you know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, that wonderful kids show that a lot of us grew up watching, or your children watched, or you know, most of us should be familiar with him. And he has this quote, and I don't have it in front of me, so I don't know. I'm going to say it wrong, I'm sure, but basically it says that in times of hardship, look for the people. There are always people helping, and I always find that super encouraging. Like right now, you know, I look at our local Facebook groups, and there's people on there saying, hey, who needs groceries? How can I go bring you groceries? How can I help you out? And setting things up like that. And I find that super encouraging and heartwarming. So that's just something to look at. You know, where a lot of times there's a lot of bickering and dissension, and that is super great to just keep in mind. Hopefully you can still hear me. The other thing to remember is that we are not alone. Where, you know, sometimes you might have something that happens to your family, and it can be super isolating, and, you know, maybe you have a sick family member or something, some illness or scary thing that pops up, and you can feel super alone. No one else gets it. This is something, we're all in this together. And yeah, different situations are different. We all have our different things that are causing us anxiety, or, you know, some of us may be doing pretty good, others may be really just a mess right now. But I just want to encourage you that you are not alone. We are going through this together, and truly take a minute to just let that sink in and think about that, because there's something just so I think powerful in that we're collectively going through this, you know? So this is something that hopefully we're all going to be able to come out on the other side and be a little bit stronger, be a little bit more aware of our neighbors, you know, be a little bit more aware of helping others, and for our children too. This is a good way to talk about others, to think about others, you know. So whether you're struggling with financial hardship or worries about what could be coming financially, you're struggling with having your children home, working from home, the isolation, or, you know, worries and fears about health, if you have one of your kids or a close family member, or even yourself with an underlying health condition that puts you at more at risk, you are not alone. And yes, we're all unique in our situations, they're all unique, but in a general broad sense, we're in this together. So I just want to encourage you with that. So a couple of things that I'm doing. I tend to be more of an anxious person. I've done a lot of things to help myself to kind of deal with that. And a lot of this stuff has definitely triggered my anxiety. And like I mentioned earlier, we're actually selling our house. We're buying a new house, which is both very exciting and, you know, I mean, they say that moving is one of the most stressful things you can do. So we're doing that, and we're dealing with coronavirus stuff going on. So it's a little bit like one day at a time. And so I've definitely had my days where I've been really good, and I've had my days where I've been super, super anxious and stressing. And so there's a couple of things I want to encourage you with that has helped me. So one of the things, if you are feeling stressed with the news and everything, is stop looking at the news. And I know that that's hard to do, and I get that. And let me tell you something. It's sometimes it can feel like a magnetic draw, like you have to look at the news, like what's going on now, because legitimately we want to know what's going on. But I kept looking at the news, and I was getting more stressed because sometimes the headlines are very scary, the way they're written. And so I actually installed on my phone this like app and website blocker, and I actually blocked myself from visiting a couple of those sites that were causing me anxiety, because I didn't have enough self-control to not look at that myself. And so on my laptop, I don't look at it on my laptop, but on my phone, I would sit there and I'd pull that up and scroll through, and I would get really stressed out. So I actually blocked it, and I've done that maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and it's really helped so much. Now, at the same time, like, we all definitely want to keep aware, and especially when things might be different from different states or local areas. So I am still popping up and looking at our local news site. We live up in New Hampshire, and so I am trying to keep it up to date on that, because obviously there are things that are, you know, we need to know, you know, as to what's going on. Like, for example, in our state, couple days ago, I don't know, things are changing so fast, but they closed all of the restaurants and things like that, you know, so now we're just doing takeout options. But that's something to know, you know. So I do look at the local news, but it's far less. I feel like it's a much smaller level, and it's more relevant information. So that doesn't really bother me. Another thing that I've done that has helped out a lot is, excuse me, if you, on Facebook, you know, social media is one of those things where you know, as much as we may not like it at times, as much as it can cause problems, right now it is a huge blessing, because it is allowing us to connect with people in a way that we wouldn't normally be able to. So we're all probably on Facebook and Twitter or whatever other, Instagram, you know, that even more than normal. And it also can be a really good distraction, so that's good. But that being said, you might still run into people that are, you know, can be really negative, or just, you know, if you're scrolling through your feed and you're seeing people and it's just like there's something that's causing you anxiety, unfollow them. That's one of the wonderful things about Facebook. I unfollow people, and it's nothing personal to those people. It's just that I don't want to be scrolling down and get my anxiety triggered by something. And you can, of course, go onto their feed if you want to, but it just kind of protects yourself. You're just kind of setting up an invisible boundary saying, I am taking care of myself. This is a really small, easy, simple way I can do to protect myself. And they never know. They don't need to know that either. That's the beauty of it. So that's those are just a couple really simple things. I'm also trying to make sure that I'm getting enough rest. I've definitely had a couple of nights where I've not slept well just because of everything going on. And but I've been trying to go to bed at a decent hour so I can just try to protect myself better. It is what it is. You do what you can. This is not about doing it perfect when it comes to having your kids home and trying to do the lessons, whatever your children's school is doing. Our kids were pretty much almost all online, which is really great. And we're fortunate that we do have some extra computers and we have internet access. Not everybody has that. So I think that schools are being understanding, and everyone is just getting started. Like, this is new for everyone. So try to give yourself grace, give yourself a break here. And, if you're struggling to balance your work, you're trying to get your children's schoolwork done, realize that this is a hopefully temporary thing. This too will pass. We don't know for sure when that is, but it will pass. And, don't be afraid to communicate with your child's teacher. I have a really good friend, like my sister actually, she was telling me yesterday that she spent like hours yesterday doing schoolwork with my niece who is in first grade. And I was like, okay, but if that's like just the beginning, getting started, sure. But if it's not, okay, it's my daughter walking in. And so, sorry, Emily, don't let the dogs out, please. Come on, please. Thank you. See, crazy life. I'm doing a video, hun. Oh. No, please go. Thank you.
Sorry.
So, see, crazy. You just gotta roll with it. Oh, so I was saying about my sister. And so I was just encouraging her, like, don't be afraid if you feel like that's going to be your normal of 6 hours sitting down at the table with your first grader. Don't be afraid to tell the teacher, like, this is a lot. Like, she has her own job that she needs to do working from home too. So we just have to kind of balance it. And honestly, I think that the teachers this is new for them. They're trying to do their best too. So, all right, I'm going to let you go with that. But just remember, be kind to yourself. Give yourself extra grace. Give yourself extra kindness right now, and let me know if I can come alongside you and encourage you in any other ways. And I will check in with you soon. All right, thanks for watching, friends. Bye.